Have you heard of DALL-E 2 by any chance? It's pretty mad. You can literally create a picture of anything, like anything. If you want to create a picture of, if you want to create a picture of a panda sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower drinking a cup of coffee, you can create a picture of a panda sitting on the Eiffel Tower drinking a cup of coffee. Like, you can create a picture of anything. So with this kind of technology, it's super, like, you have to see it to understand, right? So essentially, what this AI system can do is it can create realistic images and art, like literally pieces of art, from a description that you type into it. So you can type any description into the software and it will create it, right? So I'm going to show you some examples, right? of how mad this is. All right, so if you are on YouTube, you'll be able to see these, but for you guys who are on Instagram, so I just want you guys to imagine what a masterful oil painting of a Persian exotic cat discovering that their astounding crypto losses is discovering their astounding crypto losses while checking their phone, right? This is like a super descriptive like piece of text, right? And what this software does is it will actually create it, right? So this is the output of that description. So it literally takes any like phrase that you type into it and it will create a picture of it. So I don't know if anyone here wonders what an ancient Roman laptop would look like. But in case you didn't know, this is what it outputs, which is pretty nuts, right? And it looks realistic as hell. So lastly, me waving hello to a boat in Chicago. And just a plot twist on this one of these images is actually real, right? I'd be very curious to find out from you which one of these images you think is the real one and which one is the fake one. And then maybe by the end of this, I'll tell you which one's the real one. So why is this such a big game changer? So if you want to design a new shoe, if you want to take like a Nike shoe and just change the color to it, you can just say, change the color of the shoe, and it will change the color of the shoe. If you want to create a design of a car that would look like a cross between a Lamborghini and a Ferrari for the sake of whatever campaign you're working on, you can type that into the software and it will create that. Like, you don't need to hire a Photoshop artist. You don't need to hire a 3D modeler. You don't need to hire an actual artist who can paint. Like, you can literally type in anything into the software and it will create it. So it's a bit controversial because a lot of artists are kind of shitting their pants right now at the idea of the fact that there's an AI out there. And what's also crazy about it is that this AI, like, you can tell it to use a certain artist style. So if you wanted to create like a picture of a Lamborghini Huracan 2022 model in the style of, let's say, Leonardo da Vinci, you can tell the software to create that picture and it will do it. So there's a huge debate going on right now about like being artists and the kind of implications that it has, because artists, the value in their art is the amount of time that they've spent mastering their craft, right? And now if you're going to develop a software which can literally just analyze your past artworks and then take the style that you've used on your past artworks and apply it to any picture going forward, like, that completely knocks out your value, right? People don't need to hire you to create that piece of art anymore. You can literally just use the software to create it at a much like cheaper cost. So there's a whole debate going on about this, like the implications that it might have. And yeah, what's also crazy about it is, like, right now, this AI technology functions just within images, for example. It doesn't really span to video just yet, but video is on the way. So we all know video is essentially made up of like multiple pictures or thousands of different pictures. video is made up of different frames, each being a picture. So when you put all those pictures together and you play them really quickly, it creates a video, right? So the reason why this image generation technology is catching up to video as well is because essentially, in order to create video from this, all you need to do is take a whole bunch of pictures and mash it together, and boom, you've got a video, right? So people started doing this with the software. By the way, like when it comes to DALL-E 2, not anyone can access it. They've restricted the access to the software because obviously you can do anything with it. There's certain things as well that they're trying to iron out. So one of the things that they're trying to iron out is certain biases like that are programmed into the software. So when you're creating software, a lot of the time, the way the software comes out, and especially something like AI or neural technology, this kind of software can be biased. So depending on the person programming it, if you have a certain bias or even what's found on the internet, right? So an example of a certain bias that they've come across is like when you search, like when you add Asian into like a piece of text that you want to turn into an image, because of the nature of what can be found on the internet when you search Asian, a lot of it is like porn based. So a lot of the time the software was like generating images of like porn and using porn based images whenever you type in Asian, right? So that's the one example of a bias. And that's not necessarily like dependent on the person who created the neural network. That's just dependent on the data that is being fed into the neural network. So there's other biases that they've also picked up that they're still working through. So they haven't made it accessible to anyone, but if you're watching this and you want to get access to DALL-E 2, you are able to apply for it. I've applied for it like probably about 2 months ago. I still haven't received access, but the moment I get access, I'm going to start creating content around it because it's such a like fun, interesting software. You know, you can literally type in any word and it will create an image of that, whatever you type in. So like the boundaries are limitless. If you go onto Twitter and you search DALL-E 2, you'll see that there are thousands of posts of people just like trying different phrases, like of various different things, which are really dope to see.